Good evening, PerGron. I am General Tiki, and I have one question and one question only for you. Are you ready to podcast?
Yeah, that scared me.
I need to hear it louder. Are you ready to fucking podcast?
Yes.
All right, PerGron. The rules are simple. We go 3 topics every hour. If we go below 3 topics an hour, we get a ticket. You know what the ticket is, PerGron?
Is it a bullet?
It's tickets to go see Disney Junior on ice, and we have to attend. And
Oh,
we
that's
have to
worse.
attend alone as grown-ass adult men. Do
That's
you want
worse.
that, PerGron?
No, that's so much worse than what I thought.
It is so much worse. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I had that idea in my head. I wouldn't roll with it. All right,
No,
so
it's a
PerGron,
good
you and I
pick.
are talking The Long Walk. This is a movie, it's definitely been on my radar since the trailer, most notably just like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, when's that movie come out that's kind of like vaguely Hunger Games-esque where Mark Hamill plays the villain? So, like, I was intrigued by it. I wasn't necessarily excited about it beyond the Mark Hamill thing. Then the reviews started coming out, and I got really excited. And I got to tell you, and you've been keeping your thoughts vague, so this might be a debate podcast for all I know. I think this film is pretty damn close to being a masterpiece. I also have thoughts on the adaptation. I'm about 2/3 of the way through the book, probably about 80% of the way through the book. And I think the adaptation choices they make are subtle but really effective and fascinating. I think this movie is like it's both one of the absolute bleakest and most depressing movies I have seen in a long time, and also one of the most life-affirming and positive depictions of humanity and brotherhood I've seen in a movie in a long time. And the fact that it was able to combine both of them together into one complete package, I mean, this is what we go to the movies for, is to feel that range of emotions, you know? I'm full on Nicole Kidman with this movie.
I was gonna say, calm down there, Kidman.
So yeah, I don't want to say it's my number one, but I don't want to not say it's my number one. It's like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think Sinners is still kind of like in it for that top spot, but I don't know. So tell me how much you thought this was mid.
That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? No, this will be in my top 10. It 100% is going to be in my top 10. This was a fucking amazing movie. And I did not expect it to be, because kind of like you, I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh, look, there's a teen dystopian. It's going to come out, and I didn't have any thoughts about it. Honestly, I'm like, oh, it'll probably be like a 6 or 7 out of 10.
Right.
Like, all right, yeah, I'll review it. It'll fall in the middle of my Letterboxd rankings, and I'll never think about it again.
Like I said, Mark Hamill was like the one thing that I was in the back of my mind. I was like, when is that Mark Hamill movie coming out? But I wasn't like stoked about it.
You know what got me excited for it?
Mm-mm.
It was David Johnson when I noticed he was in the cast.
Oh, okay, yeah, for
that
sure.
was the moment that I'm like, oh, because even though I think, like, I loved Alien Romulus, it was my number 20 last year. I thought it was a lot of fun. The best part of that movie is David Johnson, like, by a really long shot.
I feel the same way about Cooper Hoffman and Licorice Pizza. Like, I think Licorice Pizza it's a good Paul Thomas Anderson movie, but it's one of the most uneven Paul Thomas Anderson movies. But Cooper Hoffman just really, really elevates that movie. And I totally agree with you about David Johnson and Alien Romulus as well. I think both of the leads kind of have that thing where they've been by far the best parts of movies that are overall pretty fun, but not necessarily masterpieces.
Yeah. I mean, Mark Hamill's always a joy. I always like seeing Mark Hamill. And if I had a nickel for every Mark Hamill Stephen King adaptation, I'd have 2, I think. because he
Okay,
was in.
but yeah, but can we just talk? Like, we're going to be all over the place in this podcast. I can
Hmm.
already tell.
Yeah.
But can we just acknowledge? Can we just put up right up on Fourth Street right now how incredible the range of Mark Hamill is between this and Life of Chuck?
Mm.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's very, very different. Oh shit, he was in a no. House of Usher was not a. Okay, we're good. I thought Flanagan. I'm like, oh shit, did I get that wrong? I did not. We're good. That's Poe. Um, yeah, no. He is very different. And I mean, we know Mark Hamill has range. We've seen him play a twink. We've seen him play the Joker. Those are the only two roles that I think he's famous for. Um, but yeah, I mean, crazy stuff.
All right. Okay, so let's I mean, I think the only way to do this, like we can jump around a little bit if you want, but I think roughly just kind of chronologically going through
That's how they
everything.
shot the movie. So
Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking as well. Okay, so PerGron, literally before they even get out of the car, when Garrity's mom is driving him to the drop-off point at the very beginning of the movie. I mean,
mhm,
honestly, just the opening text alone made my skin crawl.
mhm,
Just kind of like the pseudo patriotism of it all. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Like that alone kind of started to put me on edge. But you know the moment where I was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking hard. Like this is gonna fucking hurt.
Was it when he hugs his mom?
Well, that obviously is a powerful moment, of course, but even before that, the moment when they check in and the guard asks for his ID and he doesn't give the ID back.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
I love that little detail. I'm sure not a lot of people even pick up on that detail.
Mhm.
But it's basically like, okay, you're not a person anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, let's give it up right now. Let's give it up for Judy Greer because goddamn, I mean, she's in what, like
3 scenes.
maybe 5 minutes of this whole movie
Yep.
total.
3 total scenes.
But I mean, I think she's absolutely phenomenal every second she is on screen. I mean, honestly, PerGron, I think if this opening scene between her and Garrity doesn't work, if it doesn't, like, if her freaking out about him leaving doesn't emotionally land, like, I feel like that sets, like, obviously the big thing that happens right before the title drop is the big tone setter. But
Mhm.
before the walk even begins, I think that, like, just seeing the sheer amount of devastation right away, like right in the first couple minutes. I mean, I thought that
Mhm.
was just such a hell of an effective way to start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say it. If Isabella Rossellini can get in on Best Supporting Actress for Conclave, Judy Greer deserves to get in for Best Supporting Actress for this at the
You know what
Oscars
really
this year.
pisses me off? I think this movie has by far some of the most defining performances of 2025.
Hmm.
I don't think this movie is going to get any fucking Oscar
Oh, it
nomination.
absolutely won't.
Like,
But there's two that deserve it, and we'll get into the other one in a second.
absolutely.
But yeah, I think Judy Greer, if Rossellini can get in, Greer deserves to get in. And I think if anyone ever watches
Isabel
this,
Rossellini, she got in basically because, like, yeah, women.
hmm but yeah, I think Greer is a good shoe in for a Tiki's nomination at least, unless something goes crazy this year.
I
um,
would say so, right? Like, we already have Lucy Liu locked in.
hmm
I would say that's yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
she's at least a shoe in for a wild card.
oh, definitely a shoe in for a wild card for sure. Absolutely.
Um, but yeah, no, that scene was good, very good. Um, and then he goes in and he like meets the people, all the other walkers,
Mhm.
which is a weird thing to say as somebody who grew up with The Walking Dead.
Right.
Um,
What do you think of the character introductions here?
They're fun. They're like that doesn't feel like a good word for it. But like it's clearly just like the reality of the situation hasn't set in with any of them yet.
Hmm.
So it's kind of just like a hey, yeah, we're pals and we're gonna joke and we're gonna um like be boys about it.
Sure, sure.
I really appreciated Ben Wong, who was the Karate Kid, that nobody
One
cares
of the
about.
few summer movies I didn't actually bother to see.
It's fine. Like it's whatever.
And then,
um,
ironically enough, we were just talking off air about him, and
yeah.
the lead actor from him was in I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was one of the other. I think the only three major summer movies I did not see over the summer
Hmm.
were I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Karate Kid, and fucking Smurfs. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Smurfs and I Know What You Did Last Summer came out on the same
They
weekend.
did.
That was a miserable weekend.
Yeah, it was. I was in the theater. I was in the fucking trenches. I saw both of them on the same fucking
Oh
day,
my god.
back to back. Um,
I saw
but
this back to back with him. I saw this and I was like, okay, now to go see a shitty movie. I mean, I saw this a second time because my dad's a big Stephen King fan. I really wanted to
mm,
take him. Yeah, I think they do a really solid job. Some of the adaptation changes. Do you mind if I talk through
have
some of
at
that
it.
stuff?
This is one of the few King books I haven't read as a like few big King books. There's
Uh-huh.
plenty of like smaller stuff I've never read, but as a
So in the
Maina,
book, it's 100 walkers.
mm,
And I think they made a really smart choice by not only limiting it to 50, but I really like the fact that there's one from every state. And honestly, I kind of wish they would have emphasized the home state thing with some of the other characters a little bit more than they do. Like they obviously do it with some characters. Like Garrity is obviously tied to Maine. Baker
hmm
is very much, a Louisiana representative, but
hmm
I don't know. I kind of feel like if they're gonna do the one person from every state thing, I kind of feel like they could have leaned into that a little bit more. But I do appreciate just thinning it down because in the book, it's like I think one of the problems with the book that I have is that you're basically following the same five or six people. And I think the movie has this problem too, to a certain extent. I don't really think there's that much of a way to get around it. It's kind of like also the problem that makes the editing of a Survivor season be kind of predictable sometimes, where it's like if you're following a big group of people and you have to give all of them screen time, I wonder who's going to be left at the end. Probably the people that are getting the major focus, right?
hmm
So yeah. Let's see. All right, but we have to talk about poor dear sweet Jojo Rabbit.
mm.
Poor Jojo Rabbit. He was not long for this world.
No, he was not.
I just gotta say though, that first sequence, that first kill, like I love everything about it. I love the well, do you wanna we should probably quickly go through the introduction of the major and the rules and everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think one of the big editing choices that I really, really appreciate is that as each of the rules and each of the kind of the functions of the walk get introduced, like for example, the watches that keep track of the miles per hour, you see close-ups on Garrity and you see him getting more and more anxious, and you really see the reality of the situation like kind of start to hit him a little bit more.
hmm
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, there's one thing that kind of bothered me, and it's that a big twist at the end of the movie isn't a twist because of the way it happens. Where I don't remember any of the characters' names besides Garrity. I'm sorry. But where the
David
major,
Johnson is McVrees.
yeah, but the major's son, um, he literally calls him son. Like, I know that's just like something that sometimes like, oh, here you go, son. It's just like a thing old men say. I
Good luck,
understand that,
son.
but he's the only one that gets it.
Right.
So like, it's
I
not a
I don't necessarily. I think if you know what to look for, that would be obvious. Like if you've read the book, that was
I
obvious.
see. I've never read the book, and I've never. I didn't know the story, but I picked up on that immediately. I'm like,
I
oh,
did not. I did not pick up on that.
huh. I picked up. I'm like, oh, he's the only one he called son. This guy's got something to prove. He's got like a chip on his shoulder. That's his dad. And maybe that's just me watching too many movies. Maybe I can't be twisted anymore.
Uh-huh.
But I picked up on that immediately. I'm like, oh, this is going to be revealed that it's his son.
I will say we'll get into it more as we go along, but I think Stebbins, that's the name of that character, is
Hmm.
probably the character that they changed the most from the
That's what
book,
I've
and they
heard.
also combined some of his character traits with another couple characters.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, so we'll get into that as we go along. Okay. Just generally speaking, I've heard people say that Mark Hamill is way too over the top, but it's like, for me, what I really like about Mark Hamill's performance here is that, like, I think it's so obvious that the Major is just a figurehead, right? Like, he's
Mm.
basically just like a propaganda machine, essentially.
Yeah, he's Uncle Sam. He's
Exactly, exactly. And because of that, I think it makes a lot of sense that his performance is going to come across as a little cartoony, especially because the big bulk of this movie and almost kind of like the thesis statement of this movie is just how much humanity and brotherhood we can have for each other in the darkest of times. And I
hmm
think his performance just it's such a great kind of sharp contrast to that. Um we'll double back around to Curly's death really quickly, but I just want to make the point, like, right after Curly's death happens and the Major is like giving the whole speech, like, Curly was a brave soul. We walked for Curly. PerGron, I literally flipped off the screen. I was pissed. I was genuinely fucking pissed in that moment.
mm.
All right, so yes, poor dear sweet Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, you knew immediately as soon as you saw him in the introduction. You're like, oh shit, he's the first one.
Right, right. So I just everything about that first kill for me is like it's cinematic perfection because you've got the tension, you've got the music racketing up. I think this movie should definitely, honestly, if anything should be, I would be genuinely disappointed if this doesn't get into score because I thought the score for this thing was
Well,
incredible.
it won't because it'll have to be some like movie nobody's ever heard of that gets into score. It's like the Diane Warren for original song. There has to be some movie that nobody's seen or heard of that gets in for score.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It's gonna be like some like Dutch like
I was thinking off the top of my head, maybe the new Luca Guadagnino movie.
maybe.
Because of course they didn't nominate fucking challengers for score, but they'll
Right,
nominate
yeah.
After the Hunt for score.
Forgot that was coming out.
You know what? I would have been looking forward to it, but it's getting really bad reviews.
Like
Like the
every other.
premise genuinely sounds really interesting. I love me some Andrew Garfield. I think Andrew
Mhm.
Garfield playing like a morally ambiguous role is fascinating. I love Ao Adibiri and I love her. I love seeing her do more dramatic stuff. I'm still looking forward to it. But much like him, I was genuinely looking forward to him before the review started coming out. And then I was like,
Mhm.
oh, oh. So I kind of feel like the same thing's going to happen with The Last Hunt.
See, I don't like Luca Guadagnino,
I
so
know you don't.
um, but yeah, no, the Jojo Rabbit kill was tough.
I
Um,
mean, I think what really, really sells that scene is the false sense of hope. Like, you see Garrity's first true act of brotherhood, where he's really trying to make an effort to help him. He's like, "All
mm,
right, just keep the space. That's it. You got it. Promise me you won't stop if I let go. Promise me you got to promise me." And then it's like for like, I think one of the most heartbreaking moments in the whole movie happens right away when, like, for a split second, for like a couple seconds, you think like, okay, he's got it. He's going to catch up. He's got it. And by the way, I also like McBreeze's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. We're just going on a nice stroll in the shade. Or in just walking in the sunshine. Just a nice stroll in the sunshine. And you think for a second that he's got it, but he doesn't got it. And you just and I just say the sound design of the warnings in this movie is just like goddamn. Whoever does that voice, however they edit the sound mixing for the warnings, it's chilling.
Yeah. So in my audience, there was a couple that I don't think the guy told his girlfriend what this movie was.
Oh God.
Because at the scene where they point the gun at Curly's head, she goes, "What the fuck did you take me to?" And then she screamed.
But I mean, let's just this is I will say I don't necessarily think Francis Lawrence did a bad job directing this at all. I think he did a very good job. But this totally feels like the type of movie that Frank Darabont should have directed. But on that note, though, obviously, one of the things that you're worried about with Francis Lawrence directing something like this is it gonna kind of pull the punches on the brutality the same way the Hunger Games did? And I love the fact that Curly's death, just seeing the side of his fucking mouth just get blown off.
Yeah.
It's just no, we are not fucking around, dude. Yeah. And that might be the most graphic moment in the whole movie right off the bat.
I think it is. I think it definitely is. It also leads to the best title drop since Evil Dead Rise.
Yes, the title drop in this movie is fucking amazing. And by the way, I honestly think that should probably be a category in the Golden Tiki's best title drop.
Yeah.
Because we've had some really good ones this year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have. There have been some good ones now I think about it. So one moment about this, and I'm going to keep this very vague because I don't want to get Jimmy Kimmeled. But I think the week that it came out with current events also made this very shocking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Having witnessed the video of the event and seen it on my feed, there was definitely that. And then going into this movie, seeing something very similar and going, ooh.
Yeah, I have stayed away from that video, but I know what you're talking about.
I don't blame you at all. I was not a fan at all.
Well, but I think it would take a pretty sick person to be a fan.
But I sat there and I went, ooh. And then in the movie, when Curly gets shot, I sat there and I went, ooh. So, but I definitely think that it coming out that weekend specifically added to my reaction, at least personally. And I can imagine a lot of other people too.
All right, we have Little Blue in the chat. We already kind of talked about this a little bit, but he says, do you think this, along with the other Warner Brothers films like Sinners and Weapons, have a chance at the Oscars? Sinners absolutely.
Yeah.
Sinners is going to be the mainstream movie that shows up at the Oscars.
Yeah, I think Sinners is a Best Picture nominee. I think Sinners gets a bunch. I think Weapons could get makeup.
Yeah,
if anything.
Right.
I don't know that I don't think, I liked Weapons a lot. I don't think Weapons gets in.
I'd love to see Weapons get best adapt or best original screenplay. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'd love to see it happen.
I could see Weapons being a Golden Globes, kind of random throw in there somewhere. Superman, I think
Superman is probably going to get visual effects. I don't think it's going to get much else.
Yeah. Maybe score if it's a slow.
No,
it's it is very. If Dune can't get in, Superman shouldn't be allowed.
I mean, that's what I'm. Dude, okay, you want to talk about the score thing, dude? We've got a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie that's about to come out. I still have not forgiven the Academy for being oh, we can't nominate the score for There Will Be Blood because it uses a small snippet of a pre-established classical music at the very end. But we can nominate the fucking score for The Last Jedi. I'm sorry, the Rise of Skywalker and Dial of Destiny. That's literally doing nothing but reusing old motifs. Yeah, that's an original score. I honestly think that shit is one of the most heinous things the Oscars have ever done. Like, specifically not nominating the There Will Be Blood score. It's like, if you want to just fucking, like, be fanboys for John Williams, whatever, I guess, but not nominating There Will Be Blood for Best Original Score, what the fuck is your problem? Anyways, yeah, F1 is probably going to be, like, cinematography, probably sound for sure.
Yeah, I could definitely, like, those are probably the two.
Probably, yes.
I think Sinners gets in a lot more. I think Sinners is a Best Picture. I could see Best Original Song is a guarantee, I think. Best Score.
Best Score is a guarantee, I think.
I could see Director. I definitely think Original Screenplay is a possibility. Casting, now that that's a new category.
Oh, I forgot that was a category.
Yeah, I think that could get in.
Do you think Michael B. Jordan has a chance? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think any of the acting, and if anyone does, I think it's Delroy Lindo.
But if they didn't nominate him for oh god, I'm sorry, what's that Spike Lee movie he was in a few years ago?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I don't know why I can't think of it, but he was like incredible in that movie. Anyways. Yeah. Okay. Back to The Long Walk. So yeah, I guess, do you want me to talk about some more of the differences between the book and the movie as we're kind of going through some of the first act stuff?
Yeah, have at it.
All right. Collie Parker in the book is kind of more of just like a redneck hick who's sort of like, he's aggressive, but he's not necessarily like a villain in the same way that Barkovic is. So in the movie, they basically make him, there's two Native American brothers that are on the walk. They're very minor characters, and I feel like they kind of gave Collie Parker, there's some things about Collie Parker that are the same. Like, for example, he's very anti-authoritarian. You know, he's one of the people that points out how inhumane it is to have people, wait to get shot, have to have that countdown run down before they get shot. His death is very much the same in the book and the movie, except without obviously in the movie he does the Native American chant at the end. That's not part of the book.
That moment, but I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but that moment,
we could jump around.
I think that moment was my most emotional of the entire movie.
You know what? I kind of feel like a lot of the movie, besides the deaths, is just talking, walking. I don't really think we need to spend a lot of time on that, except to kind of talk about like the character building that's there. Do you want to get into the brotherhood between McVrees and Garrity?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. In the book, McVrees he's kind of like the first impression that you get of McVrees without the humanity in the book. And in the book, have you heard about how he gets his scar in the book?
Yes, I do know that.
I don't even want to repeat it, but it is not a sympathetic thing at all. And I am so glad that they changed that. Because he is clearly supposed to be like the moral center of the story. And you cannot do that with a plot point like that. You just can't.
Right.
Here's the big difference between the book and the movie for me. I think the book was very much Stephen King as a young man, essentially writing a thinly veiled protest against Vietnam. The movie is all about humanity in the face of hardship. I think the book gets into that in parts, but the book is much more Lord of the Flies and much less Stand By Me, if you know what I mean. because the book, it's all about like I'm excited to get into Hank Olson, because Hank Olson, his role is pretty much the same, where he's cocky at the starting line and then he kind of like deteriorates as it goes on. You know, he goes on a long time where it looks like he's basically a zombie. But in the book, when Hank Olson is in zombie mode, I mean, he is just chilling PerGron. He is just like there's one moment where McVrees saves Garrity, which happens honestly even more times in the book than in the movie.
Wow.
And fucking Hank Olson is literally like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, you know, like it's so Lord of the Flies, you know, because it's just like it's literally like every man for himself. Like basically in the book, McVrees is, I mean, I don't know. There's other people, like there's honestly two characters, Abraham and Scram, that aren't in the movie, but they become pretty good pals throughout the book. They gave Scram's big character trait is that at the start of the book he's the odds-on Vegas favorite to win, and then he's the one that gets sick, not Stebbins. So that's one of the character traits that they give to Stebbins. I really wish they would have kept Scram, because I feel like Scram kind of had this like almost like kind of like Huckleberry Finn, like Southern simpleton vibe to him. You know what I mean? And he's also the only one that's married in the book. And by the way, I do not buy that Hank Olson was married.
No.
That's one of the things in the movie. The death, we'll get to the death. Because the Hank Olson's death for me is by far the most emotional. Like, I know what you're saying about Collie Parker's death. I get it. It was emotional. But we'll get into Hank Olson's death. That was fucking rough, even the second time watching it. But I don't. Okay, my whole thing with Hank Olson and the wife, it's very simple. It's very fucking simple. If you're gonna have Hank Olson be the character who has the wife, why the fuck is he going on about paying for the naked ladies?
That's fair.
You know what I mean? That to me just really took me out of it for a second. I'm like, wait. I mean, like, and you could write it off as like kind of a smoke screen, and I think that's probably the screenplay, what the screenplay was intending. You know what I mean?
Right.
But and Ben Wang, like, out of all the characters in the whole movie, besides, you know, fucking Jojo Rabbit, he probably is the one that looks the most like an actual boy.
Right. See, I can see it in that, like, he's Asian and some Asian families marry young. Like, I have a good friend who's Asian, and his brother was married at 18. So I can see it in that way. But yes, I agree. He looks like he's like 14.
Which, by the way, also kind of makes the whole line of you know, like, if you're a day over 18, kid, I eat my shoes. Like, like, Hank, you do not look a day over 15, my guy.
Yeah. You were just Karate Kid, dude.
But I have to imagine that it must be like such a night and day, like, because Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, they were already fantastic. This has to be like a giant step up for Ben Wang, right?
I actually liked him in Karate Kid, but yeah, I thought he was.
I'm not gonna lie, this definitely makes me motivated to see the new Karate Kid.
Real quick about Karate Kid.
Okay.
There is 2 movies in Karate Kid. The first movie is the first half of it, and I actually liked it quite a bit, and I wish it had been the whole movie. It's when it becomes the fucking Daniel LaRusso show at the end that I hated. Like, the first part is Ben Wong's character teaching his girlfriend's dad karate so that he can defend himself from like debt collectors.
Oh, that's
like
interesting.
It's kind of an interesting plot, and I really like it.
I really like that. I had no idea that was in the movie.
Yeah, that's the first
I just assumed it was like, okay, like, here we go, like Ben Wang is Jackie Chan's new Daniel LaRusso. That's kind of what I assumed it was going to be.
He kind of is the Mr. Miyagi in a way. And then the second half becomes, oh, we got to enter the karate tournament and we got to do the karate and we got to bring Daniel LaRusso in.
I'm not gonna lie though, as someone who watched all of Cobra Kai, Daniel LaRusso was probably the thing I was most looking forward to in that movie.
Yeah, the only difference is I don't think this has any tie to Cobra Kai. Like the character feels like he was just like the movie feels like it didn't watch Cobra Kai at all.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, yeah. Do they make any mention of his wife?
I don't remember.
That's
I've thought very little about this movie.
fair. That's fair. Well, I definitely need to see it though, because Ben Wang being the Mr. Miyagi, that's fascinating.
It is
And
like
honestly, with his performance in this movie, I can see it.
yeah, no, he's yeah, I think the first half is worth watching at
Mhm.
least. But yeah, he
But
is
then when
good
the
in
second half with the karate tournament comes on, it's like, okay, whip out some Balatro on my phone,
yeah,
half pay attention.
you ever seen Karate Kid?
Right, right.
Or any episode of Cobra Kai or um but yeah, no, he was good here. And his death, I can agree that was very emotional.
I mean,
Um
for me, the music, the rain,
mhm,
Abraham, man, or I'm sorry, not
yeah.
Abraham, fucking Baker,
Mhm,
Art Baker. That I mean, in the book it was Garrity. In the book it was Garrity that runs back to him, and then McVrees has to push him off. And I really like the change that it's Baker because it really gives Baker a big dramatic moment.
mhm.
Oh man, I mean, just PerGron, the whole like I did it all wrong. That I think I did it all wrong is like maybe the line of the whole movie, and it's going to haunt me for a long time.
Mm.
And also, just I think one of the most disturbing elements of this movie is the fact that they fucking run down the clock every goddamn time.
Mhm.
There is no fucking mercy killing.
Nope.
Like, and I just think that the cold clinical nature of that, I just think it makes the situation even more disturbing than it already is.
Yeah,
I
they
love how the characters specifically react to that. Like that's one of the biggest sticking points the characters have against the whole process.
mhm. Yeah, I
And
think it's kind of interesting the way like in the beginning of the movie they're all kind of like watching every time someone gets shot.
uh-huh.
And by the end of it they're not even looking back. You just see them flinch.
So one of the lines I need to point out, it's of course a line in the book too. I think it's probably the thesis statement of the story, one of the thesis statements of the story. I keep hoping that part gets easier. That's exactly what I'm afraid of.
Mhm.
And I think I love that line because it's like, I don't think it gets easier for them. I don't think they get desensitized to it. I just
No,
think,
I think they're just not willing to look anymore. Like I
right,
wouldn't be.
right. And I just, for me, I love that line. And that line gave me chills the first time because I'm like, okay, like, yeah, like that's what this is all about, right? This is all about trying to keep your humanity. And I've got to say, Paragon, I've got to say, I'll just plant this flag right now for when we get there. The ending for me worked a lot better the second time around, and it also worked a lot better for me now that I know the ending of the book. I think it's
Mm.
telegraphed a little too much. I do think it's like a little bit too foreshadowed. Like
Mhm.
I was pretty much able to predict it. But we'll get into it. I love how in spite of the fact that this movie is like it does have a lot of like life affirming brotherhood in it, at the end of the day it doesn't shy away from the fact that this is a terrible thing that's happening and it will strip you of your humanity, and I think that's what the ending is all about.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that when we get into that, but first, Paragon, I think we need to take a bathroom break because we said
Yeah.
we were going to talk through the deaths, and that's certainly one of the most memorable ones.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's a couple like I do appreciate that they cover like all of it. It's like, yeah, you will have to poop during this trip.
If it were me, I would literally just be like, I don't care how fucking hungry I am not putting a single thing in my stomach.
For my might be a little too much, but my college orientation was a fucking canoe trip
Oh
down
god.
a river
Oh
in the
no.
woods.
Oh no.
I did not shit for the entire week. I could totally do this, no problem. I'm like, I'm not shitting in an outhouse. I'm not doing it. So I'm not digging a hole in the ground. So for an entire week, I could do this. That would be the easy part.
I mean, you can go like what, like 3 days with or 3 weeks with no food.
Yeah.
Like, if
As
sheer willpower and adrenaline is all you need in this, that would be my strategy, honestly.
Yep.
In the book, there's a really big dramatic moment where Garrity passes through his hometown, and that's when he needs to do it.
Mm.
And it literally becomes the low of lows of the entire story, which sounds almost silly when I say it like that, but it's really not, because one of the big differences between this movie and the book, and honestly, I think it was probably just due to budget, because I really don't think there was a good, like, I think there was a good reason to cut it down from 100 to 50, just because, like, economically you get to spend more time with each individual person, and even the people in the background, like, for example, the kid with the radio, his death broke my heart, even though he has maybe like 30 seconds of screen time before he gets gunned down. But
Mm-hmm.
you see the humanity in that kid before that, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But one of the elements of the book that I really wish would have been included more is the fact that in the book, every time they pass through a town, it's just basically like a fucking ticker tape parade. It's like just big crowds everywhere.
Mm.
And it's a really big commentary, and I think it adds a lot to the tension. You know, the fact that all eyes are on you, the fact that these people are just like essentially cheering on a death march, you know what I mean? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
how desensitized they become. I think maybe the only, besides budget, maybe the only thing I could think of as to why they decided to make that change is just because Francis Lawrence maybe thought it would be a little too Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a big element. So yeah, in the book, when Garrity just has to just, and you feel it building up for a while. Like, you literally, in the book, it's like he feels it, like, oh god, I have to push it down for as long as I can. And then, of course, the absolute, like, urgent need comes at the absolute worst possible time.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you think the explosive diarrhea was a little bit too, like, cartoony?
No, because I ran track in high school, and seeing people who were running, that was exactly what would happen.
Really?
Oh yeah, like if you're really big into running or walking, you know that the explosive diarrhea is a very realistic thing.
Okay, okay.
Yep. So I had a friend who would finish his race and then just book it, continue running, and just book it straight to the bathroom after. So yeah, I mean I didn't need to see it, but I don't think it was unrealistic or like
I
too
respect the
cartoonish.
fact that we did see it, though.
That's fair. Yeah.
Just because, like, I feel like it's another one of those elements, and we only see it graphically the one time.
Right.
Honestly, I didn't need to see the pile that Baker drops. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
they could have implied that a little bit more.
Mhm.
And I do like the fact that, like, for example, like, towards the end, it's like you pretty much get the sense that everybody has shat themselves.
Mhm.
You know, like, you don't, they don't really need to draw it out. It's just, we need to see the one time it really happens, to just nail in the fact that that's a factor in everything, and
Mhm.
then you can basically just use your imagination after that.
Right.
Let's see, are there any other deaths that happen before the hill scene?
There's the one where the bad guy kid is fighting.
Oh, Barkovich with
Yeah.
Rank. And
Yep.
that scene is right out of the book. like probably one of the closest scenes that they adapted from the book. And I think the performance that Charlie Plummer gives here is like the instant regret. I think Charlie Plummer genuinely, like, he honestly for me might be number four behind the two leads and Ben Wang as far as performances go.
Mm.
Because what I love about him is that if you really pay attention to him at the start of the race, like, he really is just kind of like a lost kid who doesn't know how to make friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he makes that joke about like what the hell's a Mima, and it totally like falls flat. And like from that moment, it's like, and I've been there. I've been in that situation where I'm with a new group of people. I make a joke and it falls flat, and I just go into myself. I'm just like, oh, these people fucking hate me.
Mm-hmm.
And so for everything to go to like, I genuinely from the bottom of my heart believe that Barkovic was essentially all bark and no bite. Like, I really do. And I think that I genuinely believe that he did not intend to kill Rank with what he was doing. I think he was just as shocked by what went down as the rest of them were. And I really love that contrast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the one thing that was the one scene where I'm like, oh, come on, because I've slid like that on tar. You don't scratch your entire face off.
Was it?
Um,
I thought it was just the knee that got scratched.
was it just the knee? I've only seen it the one time. I remember it just being like really gruesome and like a lot of skin come off.
I'm pretty
Um,
sure it was the knee. And I got to tell you, I actually had a fall just this past week where it was like, oh damn, that's a fucking lot of skin coming off of that knee.
oh no,
So I felt that.
yeah, I thought it was the face, but I could be entirely wrong. Um,
I actually think it might be the elbow now that I think about
yeah, that we might both be wrong.
it.
But yeah, then there's the hill scene, which is
I think the hill scene in the movie is even more harrowing than it is in the book. I really do. I think that this is like, I mean, you want to talk about horror. I think this is when the movie is at its most suspenseful, where just the first of all, the nighttime lighting, let's just give kudos right here, because I feel like nighttime lighting in movies is kind of just like a lot of movies have just been shitting the bed in that regard.
it's after the fucking Game of Thrones last season Battle of Winterfell bullshit.
Mhm.
It's just everyone's like, "Oh, let's do that."
Yeah, and so I just really think that the lighting, I mean that's another thing that is lighting an Academy Award thing? I
It
don't
is
think
not.
so.
It should
Yeah.
be.
It really should be, because and if it was, I definitely think it would deserve a nomination here.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know, just that just the urgency of everything, and the gunshots going off, the warnings, just like you really get into Garrity's head in that moment about just how dire the situation is.
Mhm. I, there's no way Ben Wong made it up the hill though. I don't believe that for a second. The way he was
You know
walking in the
what? Let's
fall.
not even talk about Ben Wong. Let's talk about fucking the Stephen King standing character. There's and you see there is a shot of that ankle before you get the big close up on it later on.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
forgot
fucking
he
way.
made it up the hill.
He does, and there's just no way. There's just no way.
Yeah, no, no, that guy died.
You know what a twist I was genuinely expecting was going to happen is and we have to talk about the sleeping situation too. What do you think of the sleeping situation? Do you think it's unrealistic?
No, because again, I've also been there. Um, where like all of a sudden you just kind of drift off and you're
Mhm.
still like I've done it fucking driving, which is the scariest thing in the world. Where you like come to and you have no idea how long it's been and you have to pull over on the side of the road so you don't like die. Um, so I believe it can happen when walking. I don't think that's crazy unrealistic.
Yeah, I feel like people don't really give enough credit. Like, I feel like this had to be something that was researched, and
Hmm.
I do a lot of walking. I do a lot of walking at night, and I gotta like, especially like sometimes when I get out of a late movie, like there'll be times when I go see like a 3 hour movie at 10 o'clock, right?
Hmm.
And it's not like a long walk back to my house from the movie theater. It's maybe a mile, maybe a mile and a half.
Hmm.
But when you're that tired, it's like your mind really does drift. I have had moments where I've just like, especially when it's down. I think one of the things that makes it realistic is that they don't have to account for traffic. They don't have to account for other pedestrians. It's
Hmm.
just walking on the pavement,
Yep.
Which, by the way, all those things, the pedestrians, the traffic, all that stuff, that is like the hardest challenge for me as someone who's like currently like really, really like knee deep into counting my steps as a fitness thing.
Hmm.
And I gotta tell you, like, obviously I wouldn't want to actually do like the walk itself with the rules and everything. But if I could just
No.
walk down that road, if I could just have that road, I would be fucking set, dude. It would be awesome.
Did you see the showings where people were walking on the treadmill?
I would totally do that.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I could see that being a really good time. And
um,
also, it would get me so fucking committed to exercising because I need to see the entire movie.
right, right, right.
Do that for every movie, and you're gonna have me the fittest dude in the world.
I think I would have dropped out about an hour into him.
That's fair. I would have done it on purpose.
Right.
I would have just walked out.
Fucking him. Anyways.
Stay tuned for the hymn spoiler cast.
No, no, no. Literally everything that we're going to talk about with him is going to be in this podcast.
And the Golden Tikis when it gets nominated for everything.
I mean, like, we kind of axed the whole, like, negative categories, but
Yeah,
honestly, like,
we got rid of most disappointing.
honestly, there's been some movies this year that I've truly hated. Like him. Um, what other movies can you think of that I just hated? I know I've hated a few of them.
Yeah, I did. You hate Opus? I feel like
I didn't even fucking see it.
you didn't even see Opus. That makes sense. It's been a couple I've hated. I've
'Cause
hated.
I know that him was not the only movie that I walked out just being like, fuck this movie.
Hmm. Woman in the Yard. I know you mentioned you did not like.
No, I not necessarily to the like point of anger. I just was really bored by it.
I remember having a conversation about the suicide stuff though, and being pretty.
Yeah.
See, for me, it's all movies nobody's heard of. But Fixed is currently my worst movie of the year. Fucking
Okay.
Tartakovsky.
God damn it. Why does Fandango only give you like the last month worth of movies that you've seen? That's really annoying.
I don't know, man. Get on Letterboxd.
No, I know. I know.
Then you'll know my opinions before we do these debate or these talks.
I mean, now I'm sorry. I know this is like totally derailing it, but I fucking know that there's been movies that I've just absolutely hated. I feel
You
like
hated Eddington.
Eddington. That's it. That's the one. That's the one that was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I would be kind of maybe like down to consider just not most disappointing, just straight up worst movie.
Worst movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have to be careful with that one
What
since
was Eddington?
I see so many.
Right. Worst mainstream movie.
Yeah, worst worst movie people know about.
That's literally just what the category's called.
Worst movie that people other than PerGron have seen.
All right. So let's see. I mean, we already talked about Ben Wang's death.
Hmm. Got up the hill.
Yeah,
We
that moment where Garrity almost almost bites it, very much straight out of the books as well, even down to the whole like spilling the canteen on his over his head is what kind of snaps him out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, in the book, like, I mean, obviously with books, you're always going to have that kind of level of being in the character's head that you don't, and that's I do really like the added humanity that the movie offers, but with the book, it's like you just get like a mile for mile update on like exactly what the mental space is like. Like there's moments where Garrity will just start like giggling like the fucking Joker out of nowhere just because of the absurdity of the situation. There's there's a lot of stuff here that kind of accounts for just how the physical pain. One thing I will say, I kind of feel like they could have emphasized a little bit more just how much physical pain they're all in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, especially the guy with the broken ankle.
Well, yeah, I mean that guy. I definitely think that it's very much a stretch that he was able to make it up that hill, as we already established. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like like we're focused so much on dialogue in this movie. I kind of wish that there would have been a little bit. I mean, the body horror that we do get is scary for sure. Like that ankle, like you know, the feasibility of him being able to make it up the hill aside, it is horrific. It is genuinely horrific.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like we maybe should have seen a little bit more of that. Did you know that they were originally going to have one of the pieces of the production in this movie? I think when Darabont was designing it, was they were going to have GoPros.
Ooh,
that would have been fucking
that
great,
would have been
right?
really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the whole movie wouldn't have been GoPros, but you would have edited in GoPro footage into it.
Uh-huh.
And I honestly think that might have been like the thing that maybe push the physical toll over the edge, because I think the movie does a really good job of hitting you with the mental toll of everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that, I mean, by the end of it, like, I honestly think that once we get whittled down to like the final 6 or so, it kind of, I will say, I do think I like the first half of this movie generally better than the second half. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Because the first half is just, it's got all the shocking moments. It's got all the really visceral moments.
It's got more people. It's got more things to watch.
Right. And then the second half is more so just like, all right, I guess it's my time to die.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I kind of feel like they go in a line a little bit. Like, you get Barkovic and you get Collie Parker, and I think out of that like big line of deaths that leads up to from the final 6 to McVrees and Garrity being the final 2, I think the only one that really hits is Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Because oh man, like that might be for me the second most emotional death in the whole movie, because it breaks my heart how resigned he is to the whole thing. The whole like, I'm gonna die now, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, and then McVree's just being like, no, man, don't apologize. And like, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. Like, you've been a damn good friend, Art,
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. Promise me you won't. No, it's brutal. That's the one, because I do just think that once we get down to the final 6 or so, the deaths almost start to become a little episodic. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, it's time for Barkovic's death. Now it's time for Collie Parker's death. Now it's time for Baker's death.
Mm-hmm. Granted, at that time, you're at the point where, I mean, you don't want to see any of the characters die, I don't think. But you're at the point where it becomes, oh my God, I don't want to see this person die. Oh my God, I don't want to see this person die, as it becomes an inevitability. So I think it kind of works.
I didn't even want to see fucking Barkovic die.
Nope. Yeah,
because I feel like I kind of trailed off when I was first talking about him, but like I said, like it's not like I would antagonize people if I don't feel like I fit in, but I would beat myself up. So that moment where after McFreeze calls him a killer and he just kind of starts slapping the shit out of himself, PerGron, like, I have been there.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've probably seen me get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was just very relatable. And that's why I think Charlie Plummer's performance is kind of like unsung throughout the ensemble. I think there's a lot of focus being put on the main 3 or 4, but I really think that he does a great job of, I mean, yeah, he is a prick, obviously, but I feel like it's one of those, and I honestly think Barkovich probably has more humanity to him than most other Stephen King bully characters.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like he's a Stephen King bully, but he's not like the guy from It who's like an actual psychopath.
Right.
Like he's just kind of like he's a shit. He's like a shithead that like if you were in the schoolyard, you'd want to punch him, but he
I've
didn't.
also been the person because, like, I've often been the person where the person who is isolated, like, I've had jobs where people will know that I am very empathetic and they'll kind of socially isolate themselves. And yet they'll go up to me and be like, "Hey, you're my buddy, right? You're my buddy."
Mm-hmm.
And it's so uncomfortable, PerGron. It is so uncomfortable because I'm like, look, man, like, I'm not trying to like discredit you as a human being or anything, but they're like, okay, this might be getting a little personal, but this is just a good example though. There was this dude who worked at the thrift store that I worked at. He was only there about a month. And I was working with a couple of girls who were like in their like very early 20s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this dude was fucking handsy with them.
Mm.
Like, like the whole like I'm a hugger type of handsy,
Ooh.
right? And that got him fucking obviously socially isolated. Like, we're not gonna fucking stand for that shit,
Right.
But he knew that I liked movies. And so he would always try and talk to me about movies. Like, he literally was like, "Hey, I just rewatched Midsommar the other day." I vividly remember him trying to start a conversation with me about Midsommar, and I'm like, "That's great, dude. Just because you and I share similar interests in movies does not mean I am going to like indulge you." And so what I'm saying is that like I know that, and I don't. I had a situation come up in a therapy group. I don't want to go too much into detail about it, but like in my group therapy, we have like kind of a core clique that's like me and like 3 other women, right? 3
Mm-hmm.
other women, gender fluid, hello. But you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But and this guy, he was like really trying to go out of his way to be part of the group. And at first it was like, okay, cool. Like, especially because it's like, we all thought it was kind of nice to diversify the group a little bit, to let another guy into the fold. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he hangs out with us at a couple of events. He goes to the fair with us. He goes to Pride with us. But then suddenly he texts me out of nowhere and he's like, "I really like blank." Obviously, I'm not going to name names.
Mm-hmm. No, please
And
name names.
and I'm like, "Dude, you are like pushing 50, my guy, and she is in her mid 20s. And there's a bunch of other reasons that this is inappropriate that I'm not going to list because it's kind of personal."
Mm-hmm.
And I laid this out to him, right? I laid out how, and I didn't jump down his throat about it. I didn't be like, how dare you? Because I've had my issues with having crushes on people within this support group, not necessarily the inner clique, but anyways, I've had my issues with that. I've gone through a lot of struggle with that where I had a lot of feelings for someone in this group and it just didn't work out. And I honestly, PerGron, I'm still struggling with that.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's not like I didn't have any sympathy for him in that regard. The age difference thing, though, I could never fucking even think about dating someone who's like half as young as I am. I could never even think about it. But I was like, and I apologize. This is like a
Have at it.
this is like a long-winded tangent to make this point of why this moment landed so much for me. So I lay out like all the reasons why I think it's a bad idea and he shouldn't pursue it. And you know what this motherfucker tells me?
What's that?
He's like, well, I respect your opinion, but at my age, life is too short and I've got to shoot my shot while I have it. And so at that point, I blow him the fuck up. I warn the person about it. I warn the whole clique about it. And the whole thing got fucking blown up and he got kicked out of group over it. And if he would have just been chill, if he would have just like fucking taken my advice, it like you don't go to someone for advice and then completely just ignore it, right?
Right.
Like, especially with something as delicate as this. So my whole point, PerGron, I'm sorry this was so long-winded, but I related to being Garrity in Garrity's shoes so much in that moment where Barkovic is unloading on him. Because I have been the empath in the group, and I have had people go to me when they're on like their last social legs. And it's such a fucking tough, awkward situation to be in. Anyways, all right. What do you want to talk about, PerGron? Because I feel like I kind of monopolized the conversation there.
No, I mean, at this point, we're pretty much at the end of the movie, right? The one thing we haven't talked about that I do think we need to is David Johnson.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
And I think this is, again, early in the year. It's only September. Right now, this is my performance of the year. I was just blown away by this.
You would count him as a lead, right?
Yes, he is 100% a lead. And anyone that's like, no, you're not a lead, fuck you. You're wrong.
The Oscars are going to say that if he somehow gets nominated, which he won't.
Yeah, no, he is absolutely.
He's not the main character.
There are co-leads. Those happen. Oscars. Ariana Grande was not a supporting actress.
You know what's really stupid is that the Oscars will nominate like multiple people from the same movie
for supporting,
but never for lead. Never for lead.
Yeah. Ariana Grande was not supporting. Kieran Culkin was not supporting. Zoe Saldana was not supporting.
Oh, the Kieran Culkin thing was just fucking heinous.
Yeah, it was so he could win, and I support that. But yeah, no. He blew me away.
Well, Zoe Saldana, her character's not even the title character.
She's literally the main fucking character. I hate that movie. I fucking hate that movie. I'm still not over it getting in.
Really? I did not know that. I did not know that you disliked Emilia Perez.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
I really would rather not.
But yeah, I found David Johnson to be like, he's such a different character than he was in Romulus. Like this guy has range, and it's crazy because in that movie he's like kind of the awkward. Obviously he's an android, but he's like awkward, kind of like autistic coded. I don't know if I'm right in that.
No, I agree with you there. I think that character was kind of a little bit of a. Now, granted, I don't want to get too deep into it because I do find the stereotype of autistic people being robots to be a little bit offensive. But I don't necessarily think that was like the main text that they were going for, but I could see how you could interpret it like that.
Yeah, I was thinking more like just like Sheldon Cooper type.
Fuck Sheldon Cooper.
But no, just like that's kind of. And then in this, he's like very much the charismatic guy. He's like he's the chill one, the cool one, the one that like everybody wants to hang out with, the one who's cracking wise and probably would be drinking beer if that was a possibility. So I just like, I really appreciate the range there. And I think
then you also just like, as we go into I think the best part of his performance is that last scene though, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
It has one line, which I'm really not crazy about. It's
Mm.
such a fucking Hollywood line, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. You know what line I'm talking
Yes, I
about.
do. But yeah, I really like the moments where he's talking about like, what do I want to do with the money? I want to help people.
Hmm.
Like I
Just
think that's.
him being able to see the beauty in life, like pointing out
Mm-hmm.
the rainbow. Like now that's something to be thankful for.
Mm.
His monologue about how he got his scar. You want to know how I got my scars, Ray?
Yeah, and I'm glad from what I know about his character in the book. I'm glad they made those changes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. He's third place in the book too, right?
Is he?
Yeah, he is. And he does do the whole like I'm just going to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's talk about Stebbins, or I'm sorry, if you have any more to say about Pete.
No,
Okay.
no, that was a good one, and I appreciate it.
So, Stebbins in the book, I do think that Stebbins in the movie, it's like again, I really wish that they would have just kept the Scram character because I really do think that Scram had a different flavor to him than any of the other characters. Like I said, he was kind of like that kind of, Southern simpleton Huckleberry Finn type. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yep.
And he is the one that gets sick. But Stebbins in the book he's essentially like a ghostly figure. Like the big thing with him is that he's always at the back of the pack. He obviously keeps the pace, but he's always at the back of the pack. And Garrity's like the only one that will talk to him. And as the book goes on, I don't want to say the two of them form a rapport, but the two of them kind of form like an understanding about the situation. Like they are the only two that really know the true gravity and the inhumanity of the situation. A lot of the other boys, including McVrees to a certain extent, are just kind of like, you know, brainwashed into the patriotism of it all. So
Mm-hmm.
Garrity bonds with Stebbins over the inhumanity of it more so than McVrees, which is really interesting considering in the movie, Stebbins is one of the people that's obviously like the least affected by the inhumanity of it. But
Right.
it's not that Stebbins in the book is emotional about it. He just acknowledges it, right? And that's the difference. And I feel like Garrity definitely picks up on the fact that is like borderline sociopathic. The fact that he's aware of the inhumanity, but he doesn't show emotion about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a line where he's like, the line about the rabbit.
Yeah.
That line hits a lot harder in the book. It hits a lot harder in the book because of the whole like, because he really is like you get much more into the perspective of Garrity on why this guy being here is like that motivation, that push. Like he seems like a fucking brick. Like he's not the most physically fit person. Because in the movie they kind of make him out to be a little bit of like a Captain America, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But in the book, like he's not even the most physically fit person, but he is the one that essentially the whole thing is like he doesn't really have a lot of humanity to him. And Garrity is like wrestling with the fact that like is that what you need to win this thing, is the lack of humanity. And so they do the reveal of the major. I haven't actually gotten to that point in the book yet, so I don't really know how that moment plays out compared to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But by the way, one of my favorite parts of the movie is towards the end where Garrity just like, oh, why don't you just shut the fuck up? Seriously, just shut the fuck up. Mark Hamill's like, that's the spirit, boy. I love that moment. I fucking love it. Also, like, one of the things, okay, I do have to acknowledge this. I think one of the weak points of the movie in the book, the father essentially just gets iced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he just gets taken. You don't know what happens to him. He just gets taken. I do not like the fact that in the movie it's the Major himself that kills him.
Mm.
Because, first of all, I feel like that diminishes the whole Uncle Sam thing with the Major. I feel like it gives the Major too much agency when he really shouldn't have as much agency as that. He should be a figurehead.
Right.
And in the book, the revenge thing is not part of Garrity's plot at all. What do you think of the revenge arc, though? Because obviously it's going to play a big role in the end of the movie.
Yeah, it was definitely very Hollywood.
A
It was,
little bit, yeah.
yeah, it felt very like, oh, I'm gonna get revenge, and then the whole thing was gonna be revenge is bad, but then they're gonna get revenge at the end. So,
I do like it how it plays around with the humanity, though.
hmm
I think some of McVreeze's best moments are when he's pleading to Garrity about it. You know, like I love the moment where Garrity points out, like, look at these pigs, Pete. Like, these pigs sitting on the road, they want to see you die. And I think one of the lines that hits the hardest in the whole movie is when McVreeze is like, well, Ray, if you don't have sympathy for those people, if you don't see the humanity in those people, then I don't see the point in what you're trying to do.
hmm
And I do like that moral dilemma there. I do think the revenge thing is a little bit. I personally think it should have just been like a political assassination. I don't think you need the revenge element. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think if it was
I
just a
agree with
political
that.
assassination, it would have been more potent. And then, like, obviously, with the events going on the week that this movie came out, I mean, could you imagine if it was just purely a political assassination?
Yeah.
So maybe the movie lucked out by making it personal.
hmm
Little
But yeah,
Blue, yeah. Mark Hamill has been getting more big movie years, more big movie roles, I should say, after the
yeah, I
Super
made a joke
trilogy.
at the very beginning of this podcast where I said his two roles are the Joker and Luke Skywalker. And that is no longer the case.
And genuinely, I think his role, like, I don't want to diminish his role as the Joker. His role in the Joker is obviously iconic, but it's kind of a different beast
hmm
because it is voice acting.
Right.
I honestly think his role as the grandfather in Life of Chuck and his performance in this movie, maybe the two best performances he's ever given.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and rewatch The Rise of Skywalker again, though, because I do think he's fantastic in that movie.
You
Haters
mean The
gonna
Last
hate.
Jedi?
Hmm.
Yeah, you said The Rise of Skywalker, in which he is not the best part of that movie.
Did I say The Rise
Um,
of Skywalker?
you
Really?
did. You did.
And when I was trying to refer to the score for The Rise of Skywalker earlier, I called it The Last Jedi. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
Getting my favorite sequel mixed up with the worst Star Wars movie. um,
I don't care what anyone says. Like, obviously, the original trilogy has its place in film history. For my personal taste, I really do think The Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars
it's
movie.
absolutely my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best one. I do think that, like, from a historical perspective, it's Empire.
Hmm.
But I absolutely agree. I fucking love The Last Jedi, and I'm one of those defenders.
I think we just lost like 5 subscribers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Sorry, bye-bye. Sorry
the
that
only
you
live action DC villain he's done is the Trickster in Flash. You're right about that. Which, by the way, Dragon, I love you, but Dragon is kind of like obsessed with that because he's like, but Tiki, it's like the Joker, but in live action. I'm like, yeah, well, it's
the Joker in live action. This never happened before.
honestly one of my favorite like post Star Wars roles from Mark Hamill was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
The fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Honestly, for me, I fucking liked him in House Asher. I know that's not your favorite of the Flanagan series, but I thought he was really good in that.
I honestly think I might like that one even less than the Midnight Club.
Really?
I did not vibe with that one.
Damn, I liked it.
I mean, the Midnight Club was not great, but I feel like the Midnight Club was less messy than that, though. I think the House of Usher was just too overly ambitious for its own good.
That's fair. I enjoyed it because I like Poe.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, Little Blue, if they do ever make a Dark Knight Returns movie with an old Joker, I could see Mark Hamill as an old Joker.
I hope the Joker never shows up on screen again. At least not in my lifetime. I'm so fucking sick and tired of the Joker.
You mean you're not dying to see the continued Barry Keoghan performance?
That, you know what? I take back what I just said. Because I do love my weird little creep. And I want him to...
I was actually being a bit facetious there because I feel like that casting was very lazy, honestly.
Oh, it's incredibly lazy, but I love Barry getting to be a weird little creep. It's incredibly lazy. It's probably not going to be very good, as much as I love Matt Reeves' Batman. But I love Barry Keoghan's weird little fucking freak energy way more than I respect myself. So...
I mean, Barry Keoghan did give birth to, like, arguably the fan favorite Golden Tiki's category.
Mm-hmm. Weirdest little creep.
All right, let's see. Stebbins, is there anything else about Stebbins I need to go over? Like I said, I don't know how well the reveal of the Major being Stebbins' father is in the book compared to the movie, because the last thing I read in the book was actually Barkovich's death, so that's kind of where I'm at in the book right now.
Mm-hmm.
So come to think of it, I don't even think I saw Collie Parker's death yet, but or Baker's, but actually in the book there's still like fucking 30 people. Which is why it was a good idea to cut it down from 100 to 50. You know what I mean?
Right. Otherwise, you gotta that hill's gotta be scarier.
Right. I do think the hill still did a really good job of, like, because I knew going into it, like, okay, there's got to be a scene where
just everybody's picked off.
Yeah. And I think they do a good enough job. I do think maybe there could have been like one or two other montages besides the hill, but I think the hill does a good job of illustrating like just how suddenly multiple people can drop out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a park in Vermont that I really love. It's a gorge. And going down into this gorge is amazing. But going up that hill, I can imagine if I had to maintain 3 miles an hour, I'd be dead. It's a fucking brutal hill.
Dude, I avoid like just in counting my steps, I avoid uphill as much as possible just because like I know that going uphill gets you more cardio, but goddamn it, I am attached to the number goes up thing, and the number goes up more slowly when you're going uphill. All right. Yeah, any other like McVree's monologues or speeches or moments of humanity you want to highlight?
No.
Okay. So let's get into the ending then, because
yeah, sorry, my bad.
No,
yeah, ending time is good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the one thing I do kind of wish that it would have been just a purely political motivated assassination and not straight up revenge. Though I do think that so Cooper, let's talk about Cooper Hoffman for a second, because I really don't feel like we've talked about him that much.
Yeah, son of legendary actor Philip Seymour.
One of my all-time favorite actors, Philip Seymour Hoffman. His death devastated me, PerGron. It absolutely fucking gutted me. I will never forget the day that I heard. Like, it was like, I think that Robin Williams was obviously a bit more personally sad. But I think Philip Seymour Hoffman, it was just like the sheer, like, I felt like a black hole of talent. You know what I mean? Like now there is just this hole in Hollywood that cannot be filled. But I think Cooper Hoffman is getting there. I really do. I think Cooper Hoffman very much has the same vibe and screen presence that his father did early in his career, where his father played a lot of very empathetic characters early in his career. I'm thinking specifically of like Magnolia, movies like that. And I don't know, I really love the moments of humanity with Garrity. I love how he's kind of like the most empathetic one. And but I will say that okay, there is an idea I have for a twist. I knew this podcast was going to be all over the place. Yes, Little Blue, absolutely. Everyone wanted to see Philip Seymour Hoffman play the Penguin. I think that Colin Farrell did about as good of a job with a live action Penguin as you possibly could have. But I think Philip Seymour Hoffman really would have brought that kind of like high classiness of the character.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, so the twist that I was almost kind of like halfway expecting, and I sort of wish the movie would have pulled something like this. I think I was going to bring it up, but then we got distracted by the whole logic of the sleeping, right? So do you remember when the first time that Garrity falls asleep and then he gets the warning and Pete's like, "Whoa, wake up, that's you, Garrity." And Pete asks about the Musketeers. And Garrity asks about the Musketeers. And Pete's like, yeah, the Musketeers are fine. PerGron, in that moment, I thought for fucking sure that at least one of the Musketeers was dead.
Oh, I also thought that. I thought both of them were dead.
Now they're two of the most heartbreaking deaths in the movie, and I'm glad we did get to see them. Don't get me wrong, but I really do kind of wish that the movie would have had some sort of a twist like that, especially because as the book goes on, the character's mind just deteriorates. So I really, really wish that we would have done some kind of twist where it's like, where he thinks that someone is alive and they're not. Like, for example, I think an effective thing would have been, I don't know, because it's like, if you change this and you change the ending of the movie, and we'll talk about the ending of the movie, but how effective would it have been if Garrity like imagines that Stebbins died and he's walking along with Pete, right? And then all of a sudden Stebbins comes up to him as he's having a conversation with Pete, and he's like, "Garrity, what the hell are you doing talking to yourself?" And you realize that like fucking Pete died like 20 miles back.
Oh, geez.
No, but you know what I mean, though? I really think that would have been very effective.
I could see that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think something where it's messing with the audience's perception, I think would have gone a long way, especially because the book does go out of its way to show just how delirious, like, because like I said, in the book, like Garrity is just going in and out of sanity. Like I said, he has moments of like hysterical laughter, moments of just breaking down, and moments of euphoria. You know, he goes through like this whole emotional gauntlet, and I don't really think we see that as much in the movie. Okay, but let's break down this ending. We've kind of dragged it on long enough. I really, really fucking hate the line, "This is for Ray." I really hate it. It's so fucking cheesy.
Like, we know it's for Ray.
yeah, you show don't tell, my guy. Like, I mean, I think McVree's sobbing and being like, Ray, like, we know. We don't need the fucking action movie goddamn Die Hard tagline to it.
This is for Ray, and then he like fucking pulls out, blasts everybody kind of bullshit.
I really wish that he just wouldn't have said anything. Because I think that would have made a bigger statement. Because here's the thing. I really love the idea that McVrees is this character. Like, I love the idea that Garrity lays down his life because he knows that McVrees can see the light side of things, and he knows that McVrees can make a genuine difference with the money in a way that he can't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, what I was kind of getting at with the Philip Seymour Hoffman thing is that as soon as I see Cooper Hoffman in this movie and Judy Greer's being all emotional, I'm emotional because I've got that emotional attachment to Philip Seymour Hoffman. You know what I mean? So, oh man. So I do like that. I do like the trading of ideals. I do like that the brutality of what went down essentially strips McVrees of his humanity. And I will say that the ending of the book is essentially like Garrity obviously does win in the book. I think Stebbins, I haven't gotten that far yet, obviously. I think Stebbins kind of just, his body just kind of gives out at a certain point. I don't really know how. But at the very end, like Garrity completely, like he's so just mentally gone at that point that he just keeps walking. Like, and I believe the ending of the book is that he breaks out into a run. So it's like he's always going to be on the road. He's always going to be on the walk. And I really do feel like they emulate that ending quite well with McVrees, with that added layer of he basically threw away his humanity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do like the ambiguity of it. So how do you read it? How do you read the ending? Do you think that as soon as he shoots the general, he just is dead? Because Garrity does make the point of like it's uncharted territory, you know, like, and the winners of the long walk, they can pretty much do anything. It really does feel like they are like kind of like essentially like celebrity elites, you know, the same way that celebrities can literally get away with murder.
See, I kind of read it as there's a sound at the kind of as the title comes up at the end, and I kind of read that as that's the gunshot.
Okay.
That's the way
Do
I
you
read
think
it.
they kill him like as he's walking away?
I think so.
Okay.
That's kind of the way I read it, at least. In my one viewing.
I honestly think the most satisfying interpretation of it is basically like having it be the book ending where, yeah, Garrity was right. Like, and honestly, I don't even think killing the general mattered or killing the major mattered. I think we already established the major is a figurehead. The major is going to be replaced. It's not really going to do much. And for me, in my interpretation, I think that I'll have to watch the movie again with that sound in mind, though. I'll definitely look for that sound the next time I watch it. Because I will say, rewatching this movie was not nearly as tough as I thought it would be. Because I think once you know what's coming, you kind of get to just sit back and enjoy the cinema of it all. If you don't necessarily have that dread. Because in the movie, like the first time, I just think they do such a good job of just like getting you in Garrity's headspace and getting you into that point of like, oh my God, like all this fucked up shit is happening around me. But the second time around, I was able to more fully appreciate like little background details. I would like follow different characters in the background. I was able to appreciate the dialogue more. And although moments like Olsen's death and basically like Olsen, a lot of the deaths besides Stebbins towards the end, which I don't know, for some reason, I just think the Stebbins death just kind of falls flat a little bit. It's just kind of like, yeah, he gets tired out too. That's basically it. There's not really any major motivation there. But
yeah, they kind of just don't do anything with him in the whole movie.
Yeah, again, I feel like they kind of dropped the ball with him in regards to like I feel like the book, his presence is a lot more like the whole White Rabbit thing just makes so much more sense in the book. He is clearly supposed to be like a stand-in for that kind of Lois Carroll archetype in the book, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And God knows Stephen King loves his Lois Carroll metaphors. But so yeah, I think the more haunting way to interpret the ending is that McVrees does just like, you know, he said
Just
that
keep going.
what?
Just kind of keep walking forever. Like, walk
Yeah,
away from.
exactly, yeah, because he has that line about like, you know, like I've been walking my whole life, and he's going to have to keep walking his whole life, and it's.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is just like viscerally heartbreaking to think about. I think it would be a mercy if they took him out right then and there, and I don't think, frankly, I kind of feel like the people in charge, you know, the people, because you got to think there's people higher up than the major, you know, because
Uh-huh.
like the major is, and again, that's kind of why I am annoyed at the fact that they had the major be the person to actually kill Garrity's father. To me, that flashback scene is my least favorite scene in the whole movie. Not
Mm-hmm.
only because of that decision to have the major there, but also just because it's the one scene that really just hard betrays the cinematic language of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't mind the brief dream sequences because those are just flashes and those get you into the character headspace. I kind of wish we would have just heard it. I feel like it would have been one of the few examples where show don't tell would have been more effective, or tell don't show would have been more effective.
Uh-huh.
Especially because it would have kept you in that moment.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
Unless they have a guy dressed like Uncle Sam running around doing all the murders for the state.
but like I just think like because like the inhumanity of everything, like I almost halfway think that the people running the walk are like, we know exactly what we did, and we know that if we kill this guy now, it's not gonna hurt as much as if we just fucking let him keep walking.
Right.
You
No,
know what I mean?
yeah, that's definitely a good interpretation. I think it's probably the more realistic one.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
think I'm probably reading too much into a title drop sound.
All right. Okay, I think we've pretty much covered most everything.
Yeah. I can't think of too much we missed. I
I
mean
mean, we didn't
there
talk
was a
about the kid who gets his legs run over.
there was a dead cow in one scene.
You know what? I was gonna, when I was talking about how I kind of envied the actual, like, obviously I wouldn't want to do the long walk, but I'd like to walk down that road.
Hmm.
And I think just having to see stuff like the dead cow, that would be a fair trade. You know, as long as my life's not on the line, that would be a fair trade.
Hmm.
But so again, I have to emphasize like just the sheer inhumanity of like this kid's legs are literally gone. And it's
Hmm.
like, second warning, second warning. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, just put him out.
Right. But the fact that they don't, that is the most chilling part of the whole thing for me. And I love how the characters like viscerally respond to that.
You know what I think is really interesting too? They don't cover their faces like the soldiers or whatever they are. They don't cover their faces, which I
Mm-hmm.
found because like normally in movies like that, like fucking Squid Game, for
Oh, God,
instance,
don't get me fucking started on Squid Game. Squid
like
Game is exhausting.
but like all of the enforcers or whatever, they're always like stormtroopers in Star Wars. They're like,
Honestly, same with the stormtroopers in Hunger Games.
hmm, yeah, they're all just like faceless entities,
Mm-hmm.
stripped of their humanity. These are people. You see their faces, and they're still not human in that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
And I think that's kind of an interesting way to take it because
You get
usually,
paid to shoot me, not look at me, motherfucker.
right?
You want to know one of my favorite little details as far as like the soldier performances?
What's that?
When Collie Parker takes the rifle and kills himself, there's a woman soldier who's like standing over him with a gun, and she just kind of gives this exasperated sigh, like, "Well, fuck, I guess I don't get to do the kill."
Mm-hmm.
Like, she kind of just gives this like exasperated like shoulder shrug. It's very subtle, but it's there. Like, god damn it. All right, but yeah, the inhumanity just goes a long way. Final thoughts.
Yeah, it was good. I like the movie a lot. I think it's crazy that I'm going to have 2 Stephen King adaptations in my top 10. Let's just say that.
I don't know if Life of Chuck is going to meet my top 10.
It's going to make mine.
I'd have to watch it again, honestly.
I watched it again on a plane, and it held up for me.
Okay, I mean that's a good sign. Also, I'm pretty sure Life of Chuck was one of those situations. This also happened to me the first time I saw The Holdovers, where the whole second half of the movie I really had to piss, but I didn't want to get up. And that fucks with you. That really does.
Oh, it
fuck with
does.
your enjoyment of a movie.
It
When I saw
absolutely
The
does.
Holdovers the second time, I was able to enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah, I've had that with with Dumb Money. I remember very vividly sitting through it and having to piss and missing the last like 5 minutes because I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I have to go.
Yeah.
Much lower caliber movie than this or the Holdovers or Life of Chuck.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
you know, Dumb Money, that one weird GameStop crypto.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really do think that this is going to be kind of like in that Shawshank realm of it's not going to do great at the box office because it's so fucking bleak, especially with the current political climate the way it is.
hmm
But I really do think that this is going to be a movie that is going to stand the test of time. I mean, I think 20 years down the line, this is going to be like a seminal 2020s movie in much the same way that The Shawshank Redemption is a seminal 90s movie.
hmm
Like,
I
I
can see that.
really do think that this movie is going to be kind of like one of those benchmark cultural moments, even if it didn't make that big of an impact at the time.
hmm
And honestly, I don't think Shawshank even was that big of a player at the Oscars, if I'm remembering
I
correctly.
don't think so.
Let me, off the top of my head, hold on. How many Oscars was Shawshank Redemption nominated for? 7. So it was a player. It was a
Yeah.
player. I'm wrong. I'm wrong about that. But anyways. All right. Well, I feel like at this point we've kind of talked too much and I don't really know how to end this.
Bye.
It's a metaphor for the ending of the movie,
Yeah,
PerGron.
we're actually just gonna keep going
We're
forever.
gonna keep talking and talking, and the
You're gonna hear
podcast
us go
is
to work
never gonna
tomorrow.
end. It's never gonna end. All right, so PerGron, like, what do you think of Marlon Wayans and him? Do you think he was at least a highlight of it?
Yeah, ish.
Ish,
Ish.
probably
I
better
don't
than John Malkovich in Opus.
definitely. Opus, I
Yeah,
think, is a worse movie in my opinion.
we're
Because
just two guys just podcasting. And we'll
forever.
always be podcasting.
Yeah,
The Long Walk.
it's a long